So welcome friends. Is my voice clear and audible to all of you? Write down in chat box. Is my voice clear and audible to all of you? Can you hear me properly? Is my voice clear and audible to all of you? Okay, fine. So I have got the reply that voice is clear to all of you. So we are going to discuss today about soil, marine and thermal pollution. Ask your colleague to join immediately in your WhatsApp group. Give message to your colleague that class has been started. So to join immediately, I've already given the link. So we are going to discuss about three pollutions, that is soil, marine and thermal pollution. And we will be discussing about causes as well as consequences of this soil, marine and thermal pollution. So let us start with the soil pollution. Meanwhile, ask your colleague to join the class immediately. We have already started our class. So in soil pollution, we are going to see what is soil, then about soil pollution, how it is caused, types of soil pollution, effects of soil pollution, and control measures of soil pollution. So first of all, what is soil? That is very basic question in environment. You may have studied this question about the soil, about the layers of the soil in your secondary as well as higher secondary classes. Net connectivity is somewhat lower than the usual today. So in between, if you don't hear me clearly or if it is not visible, write down in chat box. I will be checking this chat box repeatedly. Actually, to go to the chat box, I have to repeatedly switch over between two windows. So whenever it is possible, whenever you find any problem, write down in chat box. In between, I will be checking. So you may have studied about the soil in your school classes also. So soil is the thin layer of organic and inorganic material. So two types of the material, organic and inorganic materials are there in soil, which that covers the earth's rocky surface. So below the soil, there is rocky surface of the earth, and it is composed of the particle of broken rock that have been altered by chemical and mechanical process that we include weathering and erosion. So soil is formed because of repeated erosion of the rocks and because of the weather effect of the rocks, weather effect over the soil, it is formed. So we are more interested in soil pollution. So it is defined as the building up of the soils of persistent toxic compound, chemicals, salts, radioactive material, or disease-causing agent which have the adverse effect on plant growth as well as animal health. So this is very easy definition, very easy if you understand this definition. Right. Why there is soil pollution? Because of the presence of the toxic compound, because of chemicals, salts, radioactive material, and disease-causing agent. Those are microorganisms that can cause ill effect on the animal as well as plant. So it is very easy definition. So soil pollution is caused by means of other than direct addition of the xenobiotic, means man-made chemical, as well as agriculture runoff of the water, then industrial waste material, acidic precipitates, and radioactive fallout. This we are going to see in detail in later on slides, so it will be very much clear to you. Let me see how many students are currently online. About 20 students are there. Ask your colleague to join the class immediately. Ask your colleague to join the class immediately. Okay, so we are going to see further causes of soil pollution. Try to remember the causes of soil pollution. Seepage from landfill. Seepage means anything leakage. Seepage is similar to leakage. Leakage from landfill. Discharge of the industrial waste into the soil. So you can see that from many industries, waste water or any other waste, solid waste, it can be discharged into the soil and it causes soil pollution. Percolation means penetration. Percolation of the contaminated water into the soil from industry, from household, from corporation area. So this contaminated water, industrial waste, seepage from the landfill, then rupture of the underground storage tank. You can see that underground storage tank in many industries as well as in many large units. There are underground storage for the water, underground storage for the other products of the oil. Like in case of the petrol pump, you can see that petrol is coming from the underground stored tank. So if it is leaked, then this petrol, diesel, it may leak into the land and it can cause soil pollution. Excess application of the pesticide, which is the very common mode of soil pollution. Pesticides, these are used in agriculture. So if it is applied in excess, it can lead to soil pollution. Herbicides, fertilizer. So excess application of all these things, pesticides, herbicides, fertilizer, it can lead to soil pollution. Solid waste seepage. Seepage is leakage. Leakage of the solid waste. Deforestation. Most common problem, deforestation. Removal of trees, removal of the forest for use of human being. So deforestation, and because of the deforestation, there can be soil erosion. So these are the causes of the soil pollution. They are very easy. Again, I repeat: seepage from the landfill, industrial waste, contaminated water, leakage of the underground storage tank or rupture of the underground storage tank, excess application of the pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer, then this solid waste seepage. All this can lead to soil pollution. So you can see in photograph also excess application of the pesticide. Just a second. Three students are there. I think that slide was not visible to all of you. Okay, now I think it is visible. Is it visible? It is connecting actually. So is slide visible to all of you? Write down in chat box, is slide visible to all of you? Is this slide visible to all of you? Okay, fine. So write down what are the causes. What are the causes just we discussed? Causes of soil pollution. Write down in chat box. What are the causes of soil pollution? Just we have discussed about the causes. Write down in chat box. What are the causes of soil pollution? Deforestation, yes. Maitri has replied. What are other causes? Pesticides, yes. Shivani says pesticides. Which are other causes? We have just discussed about the causes of soil pollution. Seepage from landfill, discharge of the industrial waste, solid waste seepage. Yes, very good. Deforestation. ISI has replied so many causes. Soil erosion. Shivani again. Fertilizer. Maitri. Rupa says deforestation, use of chemical. Very good. So you have paid attention very well. Okay, we are going to see further. Excess application of the pesticide you can see in this photograph. Then you can see in another photograph, excess use and disposal of the plastic and polythene waste. Let me select the pointer again. Then industrial seepage means leakage from the industrial waste. You can see solid waste seepage. Most common chemical involved in causing pollution. Try to remember the names. Heavy metals, petroleum heavy metals. Then pesticides used in agriculture, solvents. So petroleum hydrocarbon derived from the crude oil. It can be involved in the form of the crude. It can be in the form of burnt petroleum also. Heavy metal like mercury, like lead. Pesticides used in agriculture and other solvents which are used in industries. So try to remember these names of the chemical which is causing soil pollution. Then types of soil pollution. Agriculture soil pollution, that is pollution of the surface soil and pollution of the underground soil. Because of the agriculture, so surface as well as underground soil can be polluted. Soil pollution by industrial effluent and solid waste. So one of the causes is agriculture. We have seen already use of pesticide. Second thing is industrial waste, industrial effluent and solid waste. It can also cause surface as well as surface pollution as well as disturbance in the soil profile. Means composition of the soil change. Composition of the soil. As you know that soil is composed of these hard rocks as well as many other metals as well as some elements like magnesium, calcium, nitrogen. So composition of the soil, it may change. So that is disturbance in soil profile. Pollution due to urban activities. So urbanization is also one of the most common cause. Agriculture, industrial effluent, urbanization. It can also cause surface soil pollution as well as underground soil pollution. Agriculture soil pollution, so plant on which we depend for food are under attack from the insects as well as fungi, bacteria, viruses, rodents and other animal and must compete with the weeds of the nutrient. So plants, recently you know that there is attack of some insects in Uttar Pradesh and this Haryana as well as previously in Gujarat is known as teed. So previously in Gujarat also there was attack of this type of the insects. So insect, fungi, bacteria, virus, they are regularly causing the attack on the plant. And to kill the unwanted population living on the crops, farmers use pesticides. So farmers use pesticide to prevent this type of the attack by microorganism as well as from the insect. And remnant of such pesticide used for pest may get absorbed by the soil and contaminate the root crops grown in the soil. So consumption of such crop causes pesticide remnant to enter the human biological system. So this pesticide that not only kill this microorganism as well as insect, but they get absorbed into the soil, they get absorbed into the plants, and they get absorbed into the fruits or vegetables what we are eating. So we are consuming along with the vegetable and along with the fruits, we are consuming this type of the pesticides also, and this pesticides leads to ill effect on the health of the human body. Most commonly it may lead to cancer also. Over a period of time it may lead to cancer also. So these are agriculture soil pollution. Agriculture effect, reduced soil fertility will lead to reduced soil fertility. We are talking about the effect of soil pollution. First of all, agriculture effect. It reduces soil fertility, reduce nitrogen fixation. Just try to read. Just a second, I'm coming. So it will reduce soil fertility, reduce nitrogen fixation, Increase erodibility means soil can be easily eroded. Fertility of the soil can decrease, so that plant growth of the plant can decrease. Then nitrogen fixation, which is required for the growth of the plant, so it will decrease. There will be larger loss of the soil and nutrients. So if the nutrients are lost, like nutrient which are needed for the growth of the plant, you have studied recently in your 12th and 11th science. So that if there is loss of this nutrient because of the soil pollution, the plant cannot grow properly. Deposition of the slate in the tanks and reservoirs, reduce crop yield. So ultimately, what will be the effect? Yield of agriculture will decrease. Crop yield will decrease. Farmers will get less crop yield. Imbalance in soil fauna and flora. So these are agriculture effects. You can see here photographs. Industrial soil pollution, so large quantity of the solid waste like unused and rejected chemical like sludge, press mud, sawdust, bottles, plastic nutrient. This type of the unwanted industrial pollutants, they can be dumped into the surface of the soil by almost all industry, and it can lead to the imbalance in the soil. So you can see with the help of the photograph that this type of the industrial waste, this is liquid waste. Apart from the liquid waste, solid waste from the industry can also lead to soil pollution. So industrial effect, dangerous chemical entering the underground water. So because of the use of these chemicals in industry, these chemicals along with the water, they are discharged into the soil and they can enter into the underground water, and that water we consume. Ecological imbalance, there can be release of the pollutant gases. From this water, there can be release of the pollutant gas, which can cause atmospheric pollution. Increase salinity of this underground water, reduce vegetation. So these are industrial effect. Okay, let me check the voice is clear. Okay, so it is running very well. Industrial effect, you can see polluted land with the dangerous chemical, right? Soil pollution due to industrial waste again. Then soil pollution due to urbanization. We have seen two causes: agriculture causes, that includes use of pesticide, and industrial cause. So includes use of the chemical, and these chemicals are discharged now due to urbanization. So urban activities, so many urban activities which are going on in the city, that can generate large quantity of the city waste, including several biodegradable material. There are two types of the material, two types of the waste: biodegradable and non-biodegradable material. So you may be knowing about proper disposal of this biodegradable and non-biodegradable material. So for that, there are two types of the bins, two type of the dustbin. Do you know about that? In which two type of the color coding, two type of the color coded dustbins we have to keep in our house. If you are living in the city area, you may be knowing very well. If you are disposing in a proper manner in two different color coded dustbin, then only the corporation will take your waste. So which colors are there, and in which color, which type of the material are to be disposed? Reply in chat box. Which type of the color coded dustbins are to be kept for disposal of this waste which is arising in our house? Which type of the color coded dustbins do you keep for disposal of the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste? Reply in chat box. Meanwhile, we are moving further. Just reply the color coded bin. So biodegradable material like vegetables, animal waste, paper, wooden pieces, carcasses, plant twigs, leaves, cloth waste, as well as sweeping. So all these type of the material which can be degraded by the microorganism into the soil, and which do not cause much soil pollution, which are automatically degraded by the microorganism which are present into the soil. So they are called biodegradable material. And non-biodegradable material such as plastic, most commonly plastic, which cannot be degraded, by, or which cannot be broken by this microorganism. Plastic bottles, plastic waste. So because they are non-biodegradable, so frequently the movement of the use of no plastic in city area as well as in our state. Plastic is banned, so you cannot use the plastic bag to carry any material into it. Glass bottle, glass pieces, stone, cement pieces, these are non-biodegradable, and which are the common cause for soil pollution. Yes, I have got the reply. Blue and green. Yes, blue for non-biodegradable and green is for biodegradable. Very good. So many students has replied. Krupa, Maitri, Nakul, then this Monu, Ayushi, Krutika, Maitri, Sivani, Fatema. Okay, all of you have replied. Very good. So you basically understand about the biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste which is arising out of the urbanization, urban activity. On a rough estimate, Indian cities are producing solid city waste to the tune of 50,000 to 80,000 metric ton every day in any city. In the large city like if we talk about Rajkot, Ahmedabad or Surat or Mumbai, this type of the metric ton solid waste, it may be varying. In Mumbai and Ahmedabad, it will be more as compared to the Rajkot and Jamnagar. If left uncollected and decomposed, they are causing the several problems. So urbanization effect, because of the soil pollution, because of the urban activity, there can be soil pollution and it can lead to clogging of the drain. Drain will be jammed and there can be jamming of the drainage system. It can lead to induction of the area. Forget about the public health problem. So many public health problems. We are most interested in this public health problem. Because of the collection of this type of the waste, there can be waterborne disease. Can you name some waterborne disease? Can you name some waterborne disease? Write down in chat box. Then we are discussing further. Pollution of the drinking water. So again, this is same. So because of the water, polluted water, and because of the drain, clogging of the drain, there can be water collection, and it can lead to waterborne, water-related disease, foul smell and release of the gas, waste management problem. So I have asked that to name some waterborne and water-related disease. Write down in chat box. Meanwhile, we are moving further. So this you can see urbanization, how you can see that because of the urban activity, so much pollution over the soil. You can mark it very well. Now, after learning this lecture, if you go to outside, you just note what are the pollution. You can just note the sites of the pollution. Some more effect on the soil pollution runoff into the river as well as kill the fish, plant and other aquatic life. So because of the soil pollution, all this material are drained into the river, and into the river it can affect the aquatic animal and plant. Crops and fodder grown on the polluted soil may pass the pollutant to the consumer. So this type of the crops we are consuming, which are loaded with the pesticide. Polluted soil may no longer grow crops and fodder. So this soil structure is damaged. We have already seen corrosion of the foundation and pipeline. So pipeline are corroded. Pipeline will be corroded and it can lead to the leakage. May release the vapor and hydrocarbon into the building and cellar, and it can damage the building. It can damage the construction work. May lead to toxic dust, poison. It may poison the children who are playing in the area. So these are the more effect of soil pollution. Let me check how many of you have answered. So waterborne disease, so many have answered. See, some are correct. Typhoid, cholera, diarrhea. Yes, gastroenteritis in form of the diarrhea, dengue, cholera. It is very right. Then skin disease. How you can say skin disease? Jaundice. Jaundice is actually not disease. Jaundice is symptom. There can be many causes of the symptom, like fever. Fever is symptom. So jaundice is also symptom. Jaundice can be so because of the so many disease like hepatitis. In hepatitis also there are variety. Hepatitis A to E. Because of the damage to the liver, so it can lead to jaundice. There can be obstructive jaundice. There can be medical jaundice. There can be jaundice due to stone. And this is example of the obstructive jaundice. So we cannot say that jaundice is disease. Kuposhan. How can you can say kuposhan is the disease which are waterborne? So classical example are typhoid, cholera, gastroenteritis, dengue and malaria, they are water related diseases. That water collection of the water can serve as the breeding places of the mosquito, and this mosquito can carry dengue, chikungunya and malaria. So you can see that damage to the aquatic animal, fishes, as well as this type of the pollution. Method to control soil pollution: reducing chemical fertilizer and pesticide use. So whatever the causes we have learned, in that causes we have to focus for reducing the soil pollution. So reduce the use of the fertilizer, control use of the fertilizer and pesticide. Recycling, so reduce, then recycle and reuse. And there are three terms you have to remember: reduce, then recycle and reuse. You can see that symbol also. Recycle is another way to reduce and control the soil pollution. So recycling the paper, plastic and other material reduce the volume of the refuse in the landfill, and another common cause of the soil pollution. So reduce the use, recycle the material which can be recycled, reuse of the material. Then deforestation, prevent deforestation. We don't have to deforest, but prevent deforestation. So the cut down of the tree cause erosion and pollution and loss of fertility of the top part of the soil. So planting trees and reforestation, planting more and more trees as well as reforestation help to prevent the soil erosion and pollution. So nowadays awareness is much generated in planting trees. Many of the NGO as well as individual were working in planting trees. So I can give one of the example of the NGO is working in Rajkot, Sadbhavna Old Age Home, who has planted more than 4 lakh trees till now. Since last 3 to 4 years, planting of the tree has been started, and more than 3 lakh trees have been planted by the Sadbhavna Old Age Home. They are planting trees to your home at a free of cost, on your birthday or on your any occasion, or even if there is no occasion, they are planting trees free of cost. And it is planting tree on the highways. And you can see if you are going to the Rajkot after Padadri, you can see that many of the trees are planted by Old Age Home on the both side of the road, as well as when you enter the city, on each divider on each road of the city, Sadbhavna Old Age Home has planted trees. Method to control soil pollution: weeds soak up mineral in the soil. So weeds, it can soak up the mineral, and reducing the weed growth help to reduce the soil pollution. So we have to reduce the weed because it can soak up the mineral, and mineral are used for the plant. One of the more common method of reducing weed growth is covering the soil with numerous layer of the wet newspaper or plastic sheet or several weeks before cultivation. See, this is actually purely an environmental science. It is not related directly to medical science. So those who are in agriculture, they can better understand. This is the method to be adopted by the farmers. This prevent light from reaching the weed, which kills them. So to cover all the land, cover the land with the newspaper or this plastic, so that light cannot reach the weed, and it can be killed. Designated pits should be used for dumping the soil waste. So indiscriminate throwing should be avoided. Only in the designated pits. Pits means khado. In that only this soil waste can be dumped. This waste should be treated chemically and biologically to make less toxic and hazardous. One more thing to say in the wheat, that you may have seen some farmers who have grown their crops. In between the crops, there can be some grass which may be interrupting the growth of the desired crop. So these farmers are taking out this unwanted grass, and these are weeds. And this can soak up the material. This can take up the mineral from the soil, and it cannot allow the crop to grow. So these are the weed. So again, this is the symbol: reduce, recycle, and reuse. Reduce, reuse, recycle. You can also say. And these are these are the two type of the color coded bed. These beans we are using in our household: blue and green. You have already seen. And yellow color, this type of the beans, it is actually the part of the biomedical waste management, not in the solid waste management. And these are the designated pit. You can see the person throwing the waste into the designated pit. And again, cropping and planting the trees. I've already told about this thing. So that was about the soil pollution. Now, marine pollution. Okay. Now about the marine pollution. So introduction by man directly or indirectly the substance or energy into the marine environment, resulting in deleterious effects such as hazard to the human health. So marine pollution can also lead to the hazard to the human health, hindrance to marine activities, impairment of the quality of the sea water, and these are the effect of the marine pollution. And it can does not it does not include the natural causes like volcanic eruption or earthquake. Because of the earthquake or volcanic eruption, marine pollution, it is not there in the classical definition of the marine pollution. Because of the human activities, that is in marine pollution. So what are the marine pollutant, or in other way we can see that what are the causes of the marine pollution, like agriculture runoff, whatever the herbicide or pesticide which are used in the agriculture through the river, through the water, that can be thrown in, that can be flowing to the marine, that can be flowing to the sea, and it can cause marine pollution. It can damage the aquatic plant as well as animals. Some sediment, sewage sewage system in our city area. So whatever the sewage, it is containing fecal coliform as well as pathogen. Sewage means in our local language we can see gutter no pani. That type of the pollutant, it can cause it will be containing the fecal coliform, fecal material and pathogen, and it can cause marine pollution. Chemicals, heavy metals, radioactive substance, persistent toxin like DDT and heavy metal, oil itself, plastic. In case of the oil, you may have read in newspaper many times that there can be oil leakage from large ship, from large steamer. There can be oil leakage. Plastic, then energy like thermal and light, it can cause also marine pollution. So sources of the marine pollution, first of all, land source. 80% of the non-biological marine pollution comes from the land-based activity. So land-based activity is the most common source of marine pollution. 80% it can come from the land. Pipes discharging directly into the marine water like sewage, industrial, chemical and food processing waste. So whatever the pipes which is discharging the pollutant directly into the marine, river line flow into the sea which carry the pollutant from the entire catchment area. Then from air, 80% is from land. Then from air, global atmospheric input, change in the temperature as well as the composition of the air, it can cause a marine pollution. Oil spills and offshore sources. So oil spill, I already given the example. So oil discharge from the ballast during the routine ship operation, simply saying that from the ship, from steamer, whenever it is transporting oil from one part of the country to another part, or from one country to another country, it can leak this oil into the marine. Designated dumping ground at the sea, accidental spill from the ship carrying hazardous waste and oil. So when during accident of the ship, whether it can be drowning of the ship, it can lead to the this type of the marine pollution. So this is very good figure to show the causes of the marine pollution. Marine transport 45% causes, oil industry 32% causes, land-based sources 15%, oil pollution, that is only for oil pollution. There are so many causes, 80%. But if we consider the only for oil, then major oil pollutant is from marine transport, that is from ship. Then oil industry, it can lead to also marine pollution. Oil industry, you can see that in Mumbai, there are so many oil industry, it can lead to this marine pollution. Natural 8%. Major marine pollutant in solid waste. So large portion and greater danger is from non-biodegradable plastic. About 46,000 pieces of the floating plastic per square mile of the ocean surface in any US coast. So many number of the places. This is just the example. You can see that floating plastic are in so many number in the sea. Sea turtle, this is very important. Sea turtle mistakenly take this plastic bag for jellyfish. Sea turtle who are the non-vegetarian in diet, they can take this jellyfish. They can understand that this plastic is jellyfish, and they can take for the feeding and die from the internal blockage. Just like cow. Cow can eat this plastic bag also over the land, and because of the this plastic, there can be blockage in its GIT system, and the cow may die. So here also sea turtle may also take this plastic mistakenly for the jellyfish and it can die. Seals and sea lions. Seals and sea lions, they are the animals. They starve after being entangled by the net or muzzled by six-pack rings. This type of the plastic, it can entangle into the animal, aquatic animal, entangle over the neck part of the animal, and they can die. Plastic debris kills 1 lakh marine mammals and 2 million seabirds die annually. Control measure for oil pollution, natural process of the emulsification of the oil by use of the chemical dispersant, it can be spread on the oil. Slick liquor, continuous belt of the absorbent material which are deep into the soil slick. So this type of the control measures, they are actually more related to those who are working in marine industry. Effect of the marine pollution, effect on the sea life, there can be damage to the sea life, there can be damage to the aquatic animal and plant, effect on the bird, effect on human, like health and business. Health of the human can be also impaired. Business, because of the oil leakage, there can be loss and it can lead to the loss of the businesses. So all type of the effect of the marine pollution. Effect on the marine pollution, we have already discussed many things about the marine pollution. Now about third point, that's it, that is thermal pollution. Okay, so in thermal pollution, it is harmful increase in water temperature in streams. Streams means jarna, streams, rivers, lakes, or occasionally coastal ocean water. So it is increase in water temperature. In short, you can remember thermal pollution is increase in water temperature, but it is harmful. It is degradation of the water quality by any process that change ambient water temperature. So ambient water temperature means water temperature at the normal atmosphere. So any of the activity which change the water quality, which increase the water temperature, it is thermal pollution. A temperature increase as small as 1 to 2 degrees centigrade, it can kill native fish, shellfish, plant, and drive out of into the favor of the other species. So just 1 or 2 degree increase in water temperature, persistent increase in water temperature, it can damage this aquatic animal. When water is used at the coolant, remember these things are very important. When water is used as a coolant in case of the industry as well as in our vehicle, it is used as the coolant. It is returned to the natural environment at a higher temperature. So after using in industry or after using in vehicle, this water is returned into the environment in form of the fume at a higher temperature, and sudden change in the temperature decrease oxygen supply and affect the ecosystem composition. Fish and other organisms adapted to particular temperature range can be killed. So as you know that fish and other aquatic animals, they are adapted to particular temperature range. If there is sudden increase in 1 to 2 degree even, it can kill this fish. And this condition is known as thermal shock. This is thermal shock. So this topic, soil, environment, thermal pollution, they are not directly related to medical science. They are not part of the medical course. But even though I have tried to simplify them and I try to explain you in simple manner, we will take further 20 minutes and then end up. So causes of this soil pollution, thermal pollution, chief causes of the thermal pollution: water available as the coolant and ejected back into the water body at a higher temperature. We have seen growing industrial activities, release of cold water. So any change in the temperature of the water, even if it is very much cool, it can cause thermal pollution. So we need the water to be discharged into the soil at the ambient temperature. Chemical pollutant discharged into the water. Waste of the livestock which are mixed with the water. Livestock means whatever the animals, after using them as for the non-vegetarian eating purpose, whatever the waste is there, and if they are mixed with the water, it can cause the thermal pollution. Water discharge from the urban area, human waste, personal care product of the household, deforestation, soil erosion, natural geothermal activity, unawareness of the people. So these are the causes of thermal pollution. I am keeping this slide in front of you for 1 minute. Go through this slide and try to remember the causes. Afterwards, I will ask. try to remember the causes of thermal pollution. Okay, so I think you have gone through the causes of thermal pollution. So major source of thermal pollution are discharge heated water. That is the major source, discharge of the heated water or hot waste material into the water body from nuclear power plant, from industrial effluent, domestic sewage, and that is the sewage which is in city, sewage system, domestic sewage, hydroelectric water, coal-fired power plant. So the power plant where the coal is used for as a source of energy. So coal-fired power plant, thermal shock, deforestation, soil erosion. All these are the causes, another causes, which can lead to the heated water or hot waste material into the water bodies, and which can lead to the increase in temperature. So we are going to see these things in very short. I'm not going to read each and everything. Only important things I will read. Nuclear power plant. It is the common cause of the thermal pollution. That you already know that coolant. Whenever the water is used as the coolant in this type of the power plant, it can be returned back with the higher temperature. And sudden change in the temperature decrease oxygen supply and affect the ecosystem. So second is coal-fired power plant. You can see this is type of the figure of the power plant. Coal is utilized as the fuel, source of energy, and condenser coal are cooled with the water from the nearby lake of the river. And this heated effluent decrease the oxygen of the water. Industrial effluent, common cause of the thermal pollution. It is the use of water as a coolant. What we have already discussed, that water is used as a coolant and it is returned back to the atmosphere at a higher temperature after it is used. So discharge of the water from the steam or electric power industry using turbo generator, it will also having the higher temperature ranging from 6 to 9 degrees higher than the receiving water. Such type of the waste industrial effluent, in this figure of industrial effluent, which is discharged into the water sources. Domestic sewage, it is commonly discharged into the lake or canal or stream, and so municipal sewage normally has a higher temperature than the receiving water. So this municipal waste water, that is sewage, it has higher temperature. So increase in temperature of the receiving water decrease the dissolved oxygen of the water. Foul smelling gases increase the water in resulting in death of the marine organism. So that is photograph of the industrial sewage. Hydroelectric power, hydroelectricity, it is the term used for to electricity generated by hydropower. Production of the hydroelectricity through the use of gravitational force of falling or flowing water. So in case of the dam, you can see that in dams, such type of the dam, Sardar Sarovar Dam or whatever the large dam are there. Like in case of other large dam like here in Jamnagar, Ranjit Sagar Dam, but here hydroelectricity it is not used. In Sardar Sarovar Dam, there is the project of hydroelectricity. So actually hydroelectricity is beneficial. So although it is causing thermal pollution, but it is beneficial because it is the natural, which is reusable source of the energy. Thermal shock, when a power plant first opens or shuts down or for repair or other causes, fish or other organism adapted to particular temperature can be killed by abrupt change in the temperature known as thermal shock. We have already explained in previous slide. Thermal shock, that is because of the change in temperature, aquatic animals, they are killed by abrupt change in the abrupt change. Abrupt means abrupt change in the water temperature, that is called thermal shock. So you can see the photograph that because of the thermal shock. Deforestation, we have seen previously also, deforestation can lead to the noise, this soil pollution as well as thermal pollution. Again, you can see these woods, they are cut and deforestation. Soil erosion is another major cause of the thermal pollution. Consistent soil erosion cause water bodies to rise, making them more exposed to sunlight. So because of the soil erosion, water bodies will rise from the earth, so that it will lead to the water to be more exposed to the sunlight, and high temperature could prove the fatal for the aquatic animals, aquatic biomes. Removal of the vegetation far away from the stream or lake can contribute to the thermal pollution by speeding up of the erosion of the soil into the water, making it muddy, which increase the light absorb. You can see in this photograph this type of the soil erosion. Right? So consequences of this thermal pollution: decreased dissolved oxygen. We have already seen migration of the aquatic animal from one part to another part, increased toxin, loss of biodiversity. So biodiversity means presence of all the type of the organism, including plants and animals, including insects, including microorganisms. So presence of all these types of the biological human being as well as animal and plant into the earth is called biodiversity. Vaividyata. Ecological impact. Then reproductive effect on the aquatic animal, increased metabolic rate. These are the consequences of the thermal pollution. Decreased dissolved oxygen, we have already seen. We are not going to read this because of the dissolved oxygen. Decreased dissolved oxygen into the water. Fish may die, other aquatic animal may also die. Migration, we have already seen that animals, fish, birds can migrate from one part to the amphibian, can migrate from one part of the another part to save their lives. You can see that in winter, many birds are coming from the foreign countries in our Gujarat state, particularly in Jamnagar as well as in this North Sarovar. This is called migration. Again, photograph of the aquatic animal migrating. Increased toxin, it can damage the water, and direct effect on the thermal pollution. Chemical pollution is almost inevitable side effect of the using water as the cooling. We have already seen this. Chemical may have a large range of the toxic effect on the plant and animal, from fatal poisoning to mutation and sterilization. In newspaper, you may have frequently read, or in news channel also you may have seen that many of the aquatic animal, many fishes may have died, and they are coming to the shore area of the sea in our Gujarat also, because of this soil, because of the marine pollution as well as thermal pollution. Loss of biodiversity, I have already told that loss of certain types of the animal. If there is loss of all the fishes, then it is called as the loss of biodiversity. Again, you can see that dead animals, aquatic animal. Ecological impact. So local aquatic ecosystem can be damaged by thermal pollution, especially if it is dramatic, as in copious amount warm water being dumped into the chilly pond or bay of the river. Thermal shock can kill off the insect also, fish, amphibian, and sudden loss of the life causes further issue with the ecosystem. So because of the thermal pollution, key food sources are no longer adequate. Whatever the key food sources like fruits and vegetables, they may not be adequate. Threatened or endangered local population may be wiped out or put under even more pressure. Reproductive effects. Significant temperature increase in the water can cause reproductive problem. Warm water reduce the fertility of the some organism. Other species may suffer birth defect as well. So because of this, there can be defective eggs, birth defect, low productivity of the aquatic animal. So reproductive effects are in terms of the decreased reproduction, decreased fertility, defective eggs. You can see the defective eggs. Again, birth defect. You can see fish with two mouths. Again, birth defect you can see in this fish, defect in the fish. Increased metabolic rate of the cold-blooded fish or amphibian. So that is all about thermal pollution. Everything about soil, marine, and thermal pollution. Even though this is the topic for environmental science, it is not related to our science. Even though I have tried to simplify it and explain you. This lecture will be available in YouTube. You can repeatedly hear the lecture or whatever the part we have not read. We have tried to go through the major part, which is important for us, that we have tried to. You can read further and you can hear this repeatedly in the YouTube. I will share the links very soon. Thank you very much.